Hey everyone, welcome back to Devrite Technologies. This is a bot series on WhatsApp Chat GPT, and today we are going to continue ahead with our Directline implementation. In our last video, we implemented the token management for Directline using Azure Table Storage. So, whenever we generate any token, we'll be saving that token to Azure Table Storage. And when token is getting expired, we refresh that token and also update the table storage. So this token management we have implemented, we have the API ready. The next piece in the direct line will be opening the conversation. So let's first go to the direct line API documentation. We have completed each and every bit of authentication by getting the token as well as refreshing the token. Now we'll be starting a conversation, and in that we'll be calling open a new conversation endpoint. So let's use this endpoint and let's go ahead and implement that. I'll be looking at some of the implementation of the token controller for sending an API call. It's a post request. So I'll name this as open conversation. Well, it does not require anything as a parameter. It just need a token. Well, I will need that user ID and username because otherwise I'll not be able to get the token from table storage. So these parameters are still required. I'm just importing some of the packages. All right. So let's look at the token controller, and it also needed user ID and username. Well, I can pass it as a parameter. That will be easier for me. Let's do that. So if either of them is blank or null, then I'll just respond back with bad request. Wait a second. So while saving the token, what all things we needed? So the partition key was the user ID, row key was the conversation ID. So it's hard to get the conversation ID. I guess we need to store this conversation ID somewhere and just retrieve. Well, I did not think of this way because I'll need to keep track of conversation ID, and it will be really hard to keep track in a separate table because I want to use a single table for all my conversations for token as well as conversations. So what I'm going to do now is change something slightly over here. I'll add a new property conversation ID. Okay. Coming to the token controller, the partition key, I'm gonna change this. Before changing that, first let's add conversation ID over here. And row key will be user ID. And partition key will be hard-coded entry. I'll make this as direct line, just that. That will be a fixed string. So let's do that over here in base entity. No, let's not do it in the base entity. The reason being, I might use partition key with having a different value for some other purpose. So let's put it here in this way. Okay. So let's change this here as well. The reason I'm doing this because I only have one identifier, that is a phone number. That will be a unique identifier. And with that phone number, I want to retrieve all the details. Okay. There we have. Since we updated this, let's go back to our Azure portal. I'll go to the table storage. For now, let's delete the table because at the end of the day, it will recreate it. I'll come to DL controller. We have the user ID. I don't need username for this purpose. Username was only required when I was generating the token. So I just need a user ID. So once I have the user ID, I must get the token first. So to get the token, I need to call token service. Yeah, this is the one. Let me quickly check what we have in token service. We just have save token. Let's create one more method. I'll name this as get token async and we just need user ID. Okay. And it can be null. Okay. So get entity async. So my table name is DL tokens and partition key and row key. So partition key is Directline, and my row key is user ID. So that's all. We have our method ready to retrieve the token. So let's get that. DL token entity. And I'm gonna check here if token is not equals to null, token not found. If token is not found, why don't we generate the token? Well, if token is not found, even this particular endpoint works, but it will work with Directline secret, not with Directline token. So let's do this, both the cases. So I'll go to token controller. Let's add Directline secret. And this needs configuration. So let's get the Directline secret. Perfect. So if token is not there, I'm not going to return null. So I'm going to return, before that, let me just add string token secret. So token secret will be equals to DL secret. Else token secret will be DL token entity dot token. Okay. Next, what we have, we're making an API call. Let's check out our endpoint. This is our endpoint. Perfect. And authorization bearer, this will be token secret. It can be either one of them. If it is DL secret, it can be token. If it is DL secret, then it is going to return me back with a token as well that I'm going to save it. And it does not take any of the request body. So request.content will not be there. It just has a response. And what all things are coming back as a response? Conversation ID token expires in and stream URL. So that's the new property that is coming in. So let's add one more. That will be stream URL. The three, all the three properties are required, but this will be a nullable property because when generating the token, the stream URL is not generated, but it is generated when we are opening a new conversation. Okay, so this seems to be fine. Is success status code? Uh, Few things to note here. It will say 201 created. That means it has successfully created the opens a new conversation. And if it says new conversation is started, if a client submits a start conversation request, which is the direct line token in the authorization that has previously been used to start a conversation using start operation. So if the conversation is already existed and started, it will not be creating a new conversation. So it will be just 200 okay. That's fine. We don't have to check that. And once this is done, I'm going to save this like this. Okay. Row key, partition key, this will be token object dot token, conversation ID. Okay. Expires in token objects. So that is all. So whichever is fine, well, all seems fine actually. I'm pretty sure my token expiry will not change. So I only need to save token only if my token secret is deal secret. If token secret is DL secret, then only I need to save this. If token secret is equal to my token, then I don't want to save because my entry is already there and it still holds valid. Okay. What else we have? Do we have to send it something back? Let's see. Let's send the typical responses that we usually send. Here, what we are sending in generate token, we are just sending token and user ID. So let's send the same thing over there. Okay. All right. So let's send this response. Return okay. Perfect. Let's see. Let's test this out. So first step, get DL token. I have my phone number. Well, this is a dummy phone number. Let's enter, okay, my username. Okay, let's send the request. I got the token. Perfect. This is my user ID. And I don't want to refresh it. I'll just add a new endpoint. Before that, let's first check our table if our entry is there. There it is, direct line, our user ID, conversation ID, expiry date, and the token. Perfect. This will be a post request. And let's copy the endpoint from here slash API, and that will be DL slash DL slash open conversation. And it needs user ID equals to perfect. And that is all it requires. Send the request. We have it now. Let me see if both the tokens are same. No, they are not. They are different tokens. I guess this token, hmm, let's see what's the difference between them. This is a new token. It has the username, expiry date. Let me check if it has the same expiry date. Unix time converter. So that's 21st August 1759. That's 1758. Okay. So that's 1 minute. So we hardly took 1 minute to send our first to send our another request. But I'm going to check the expiry of my getDL token. I believe that this token will still hold valid for rest of my conversation. Yep, we do have some differences. 1758, 10. So that's fine. Well, on the documentation, they do mention the difference between starting a conversation versus generate token. So if you intend to start the conversation immediately with your client, use a start conversation operation. If you plan to distribute the token to clients and want them to initiate the conversation, use the generate token operation. So we'll perform generate token first and then we will start the conversation. Okay. So that is all. We have it here and we are able to open the conversation. I think since we opened the conversation, we can refresh the token as well. But before that, I need to check something in token controller. In refresh DL token, it needs a token here. I think let's implement this. I know I don't need a token. I just need the user ID and I don't need username. This is a similar implementation that we just did for the other our new endpoint that is open a new conversation. We are going to check it here. User ID is required. So we are going to call that DL token entity. If DL token entity is null, token not found. Else, okay, I don't need else. Ah, yeah, I still need else because I'm going to check if token is expired or not. Okay, if DL token entity dot expiry date is less than date time dot UTC now, okay, then token is expired. In such cases, I'll need to generate a new token. Okay, so basically I'll get a request back to my another endpoint and that will handle the generate token for me. So yeah, and that is all I need here. I need DL token entity dot token. Okay, perfect. Now I can call refresh token. So in refresh token, I don't need token and username. I just need to pass the user ID. Let me enter some different user ID. See, the specified resource does not exist. What does that mean? Oh, I need to restart this. What does this mean? Resource not found. Okay. Since the resources are not found, this is going to return error. So I need to put that in try catch to return null. Okay. Now I'll get a proper response. Token not found. Perfect. Let's enter the actual number. We have the updated token. That is UMG. Okay, let's check this out. I should have the same conversation ID. So QMKL, that's my conversation ID. QMKL, that's good. And let's see what's the new expiry date. 1807. Perfect. So that solves a lot of problems and issues, but we'll still update this as we move forward. So we implemented our open a new conversation endpoint, and yeah, so that's all. Let's put it in GitHub. Okay, thanks everyone. See you in the next video.